Today, we're diving into a topic that's often overlooked but crucial for your practice: IoT security and healthcare. You might be thinking those smart devices around your office are harmless, but they could be your biggest cybersecurity risk. From printers to medical equipment, these devices are potential gateways for hackers. Our guest, Meka Couch from Wolfberry, is here to share how blockchain technology is revolutionizing IoT security. She'll explain how this cutting edge tech can protect your patient data and keep your practice safe from cyber threats. Whether you're running a small clinic or managing a large hospital network, this episode is packed with practical advice to level up your security game. Let's jump in with Mika and explore the future of healthcare security. Hello, my fellow humans, and good morning. Today we have a very special guest. We have Meka Kush. Is it Kush?
Couch.
Couch, the founding member and chief innovation officer of Wolfberry. Today I'll have her kind of introduce herself, have her tell you what she does, and kind of like a little bit about her background.
So I'm Meka Couch. I'm the founder and chief innovation officer at Wolfberry LLC, and one of my main things that I do at the company is to make sure that we're on top of the newer technologies that are coming out. I'm more of a generalist as opposed to like a specialist. So, I make sure that I understand new technologies, the current technologies that we're using at the company, and how we can implement it to make better strategies for our customers. Some of my background is in infrastructure consulting. I was actually a cable technician for a little while.
I know we have kind of a long history together. I've known you since kind of like childhood, and then we kind of come a long way. We're now in the business world. We're adults, whatever that means.
I mean, showing up on time, that's about it, right?
Right? Wait, people still do that? Yeah. So let's kind of start this off. I'd like to know, who is Wolfberry? How did you guys get started in this space, and what do you do?
So Wolfberry LLC is a company, the software as a service company that basically works with distributed ledger technology for customers for securing IoT devices. We got started during COVID. We were all locked in. Everybody had time to kind of look at things that were going on in the world, reflect, inner reflection. And what we were doing is actually, originally it was a planter, right? And we wanted to help kids learn how to use blockchain technology in a different way outside of the crypto realm, more about securing their data and sharing their data between each other. So we had these little planters where they could share data between the plants and change the algorithms up a little bit so that you can say, hey, this kind of plant needs this much water, and you can actually show proof of ownership over that. So that was where we got started. We've grown from there, looked at more of an enterprise solution, and that's how we got here today.
Do you guys have like an online software you had doing that?
So we actually do still have an app out in the App Store. It's called Planter AI. It actually takes the data and makes the data into non-fungible tokens that can be shared. It was more like an MVP. We've moved on since then. We have more of a web application now, but I mean the application is still available in the App Store.
So I know some people out there might not be familiar with what IoT devices are, or even what the heck blockchain is. I mean, I know in today's world, like you said, we know what crypto is, we know what blockchain is, but we might be kind of confused on how can we use blockchain with IoT devices. What does that bring to the table?
So with blockchain, it's kind of like a second layer of security, right? So when you think about how breaches happen, sometimes it comes from, a lot of the time it does come from user error, or things like social engineering that happens a lot too, or things like not changing your device password. So what blockchain offers is the opportunity to not only secure the devices at the device level, taking the data, packaging it, but it also is immutable. So once you've gotten that data onto the blockchain, it doesn't change. It can't be changed. There needs consensus algorithms to make that change within that, within the network. And with sensors, right, with an IoT device. So the best way I can explain this is, say you have a farm, right? And you have water pumps, you've got, different things that are spraying into your plants, you're checking pH levels. What you don't want is for a threat actor to come into your network and, make micro changes to your water pump. Next thing you know, you've drowned your crops. Your crops are, inconsistent year to year. And this is like a way to make sure that your data is consistent, that it's compatible. Same thing can happen with hospitals, right? You don't want patients' data to get leaked. You don't want your patients' data to be changed, in a way that is dangerous, right? Because especially when you're implementing things to make sure to protect people's health. So it's really about protecting the data, making sure that it's shared in a way that's secure, and making sure that things can work collaboratively with smart contracts.
Awesome. Yeah, I know because I work with a lot of like hospitals and healthcare, and we actually have to ensure data privacy. Are there simple ways that maybe clinics and hospitals can implement these? Or would it be easier for them to kind of like say work with a company with you to kind of get those integrated correctly?
So with the point of Wolfberry, we actually are trying to simplify it, right? We're trying to make it so that it's a no code solution. Right now, you need blockchain developers to deploy blockchain, and there's really not that many out there. So what we've done is we're working with Microsoft for startups, and we're trying to deploy our application into the Azure marketplace, and then try to integrate with Microsoft for IoT. So it's not so much, you need a lot of developers, but you can just kind of grab the solution, run it through, and then deploy it into your cloud services.
The companies I'm working with, they're kind of doing that right now, trying to move their in-house development software into Azure so they can be developed through their app process and everything. I had a couple of questions for you. What have been some key challenges you faced when implementing these into IoT devices? I know there's so many devices and systems out there. Is it compatible with all of them, most of them? How does that kind of process work?
Yeah, so any ARM architecture devices, it's compatible with those. So like you're thinking like your microcontrollers, things like NVIDIA, Raspberry Pi. So devices, or Arduino as well is like another one. But basically, we're trying to make it so that it's cross-compatible between these different devices. Right now, it's mostly ARM64 that we've been working with, but we are going to start moving over to other architectures. Um, so that's really where we're at with it right now. We're still working on a little bit of the firmware updates and things like that.
Awesome. I know a lot of people be like, how am I gonna use this exactly what can I use this for in my like business? That's kind of the question I know people probably ask about that. I do want to know about more about the blockchain. How do you guys mitigate risk with these IoT services? Like, is there a process you go through?
Yeah, so what it does on the device level is it packages up your data and encrypts it before it even goes over onto the, on off of the into the internet. You can keep it private, which a lot of people do, but then if you have to send it over to say another customer, a vendor, people that you're working with, it's already encrypted before you send it out, right? So sometimes like with these IoT devices, it's not encrypted and it goes into the cloud. So that channel before it gets into the cloud, that creates an issue, right? And then with the blockchain, it creates an audit trail, so you know what's been changed, what's been sent out, where it was packaged. So there is a trail of that data, so that you can always go back and look at it, and as well as store keys for decrypting and encrypting the data on the blockchain as well.
Well, that answers my next question about the enhanced encryption and authentication. Thank you very much. I do like to know with this technology what impact it may have on humanity. For instance, what's the greater benefit in society, like the greater good this will have the impact on for humans going forward?
Okay, so one is like proof of ownership, right? Proof of ownership over data. We have an issue with that currently right now, where data is really not owned by anybody, right? It was by the companies that are preparing the data, but they don't actually show the proof of ownership. So people are actually, their data theft, what I would call data theft, is, who owns this data? When you're putting the data into an AI algorithm, who owns that data? Who put that data in? You can't verify where that data came from. You're getting responses, of course, when you're prompting this AI, but where did it come from? And so that it has the option for proof of ownership. And the other benefit is sustainability efforts. So when you've
Yes.
decentralized how the computation power is, computations are, working, when it's not in one area, right? The way I explain it is thinking of a baseball going through a window, right? When you think about pollution, when it's all in one area, there's more pollution there, right? Because you're using a lot of energy in one area. Say maybe a data center in that area, they don't have clean energy that they're using for their electricity. And they're taking up all of this computation power in just one location. With a decentralized model, you don't have that. You have locations here, locations there, and it's able to kind of work together without actually being in one consolidated area. And I think that's a little bit of a sustainability effort. And there's also options for, like, say, proof of stake that uses low computation for the consensus algorithms, which is great.
And there's a lot of like information there that we have to kind of put together for my audience.
Apologies.
What ethical considerations do you take into account when deploying this type of technology?
Number one is protecting the data, right? Because you don't want your data to just get leaked. You have to always think about your customers. You have to think about your clients. Data getting out it can be detrimental to a company, whether it's IP that they have connected to their data, whether it's patient data. You don't want information to get out leaked where it's your personal privacy. Everyone's privacy is important, whether it's a company, whether it's a person. That is really important. So protecting the data is really number one.
I agree with that. Now, we have companies that actually are thinking about doing this, or maybe this is their first time hearing about this, and they're thinking, how could I use this? Or is it feasible to use within my company? Is there a process that you go through with them to determine if this is right for them or not?
For them, it would really be what they're really looking for, right? Some people, they may like using just the cloud services. With blockchain, you remove that single point of failure. Are you looking to remove single point of failure? Are you looking to be more scalable? If you're like a smaller company, maybe you don't really have a need for it, right? But like if you're trying to scale, you're growing your IoT devices. Say you're a smart city, manufacturing, you're worried about your data being breached, or if it does get breached, what happens when it is breached. So things like that, if you're looking to protect your privacy and you're looking to scale, that's this is where it would be beneficial. If you're more of a smaller company and you're fine with just using the cloud, then maybe it's not your client. But it just really depends on what the person is looking for, the company is looking for, and what they're trying to get from their data.
So, like, say example, like I'm a healthcare company. I have like a lot of IoT devices, such as, I don't know, respirators. Maybe we have a smart refrigerator, whatever we may have in our company. What would be some other examples that we may use that for?
So, with the patient data, for example, you really don't want that patient data to be leaked. There's HIPAA standards, there's privacy concerns. What you can do is you can prepackage and encrypt that data. And there's also an algorithm. I apologize, I don't know it off the top of my head, but you can actually run
Sure.
computation. You can run computations on that data without decrypting it. So you can actually still keep that data secure and send it to who you need to, whether it's insurance providers, and stay HIPAA compliant. And that would really be the benefit. And also making sure that nobody breaches that device. Say there's I think it's like a heart defense, I don't know the word for it, where they have a
A
pacemaker.
defibrillator?
Yeah, and that's
Oh,
an IoT device. What you don't want is to somebody to breach that
yes.
and to start making changes, and that can be detrimental to somebody's health.
Yes. So I'd like to know also, now getting into more of a personal, what got you into this space or started thinking about this? Because I know with IT and security and stuff like that, there's so many different um paths you could take with it. And this is very specific.
Like, during COVID, crypto was really taking off, right? And I saw the non-fungible tokens for artwork, and they were trying to use non-fungible tokens to secure, not really secure, but to basically show proof of ownership over like physical devices, like say like a book, or pieces of artwork and things like that. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And I've always been into like the smart house. There was that Disney TV show or Disney movie back in
Oh
the
my
day where
gosh,
you have the
yes.
smart house, and it was like one of my favorite Disney movies. And it was just like, hey, you know, what about the IoT devices? What about the data from like little things like my phone, or like my smart like refrigerator, or my oven? Like, do people get breached that way? Everyone's working from home. Is anybody getting like tapped in that way? What is the security aspects behind that? And how do we know that like the data is ours? And I'm a really big like I don't know what you would call it, like kind of an advocate for controlling your data. You got these companies making millions and millions of dollars off of other people's data. At what point do
Data
we
brokers, they're dangerous.
at what point do we get to own our data and have it encrypted? Where do we draw the line on that? That's really where the passion comes from for this company is like, small farms too. Take a farm, for example. That should be theirs. That should belong to them, and they should be able to trade and sell and offer keys to their solutions to who they want. And I'm hoping that's where the world will go with data, but we'll never know. We have to really wait and see.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talks about the ownership of data right now because there's so many data brokers out there, but there's all those companies like yours and then like Delete Me and stuff. They're trying to help mitigate that. There's just so much going on with it, and a lot of people aren't aware or even know what IoT devices are, or even know like what the value of their data are. Their data is. They don't get or understand it because it can be very complicated.
Yes.
Like it's tremendous. If people wanted to get to know more about you, your company, and maybe they want to inquire about working with you, where could they kind of find you? Like a website? You guys on LinkedIn, YouTube?
So right now we're on Threads, we're on YouTube, we're also on LinkedIn, our website. You can always reach out through our website. That's really where we
Okay.
are now. We're hoping to become Hyperledger members and Linux members eventually down the road. That's like our plan. But for now, and you can reach out to anybody on LinkedIn. Any of us will respond. We're a pretty responsive company when it comes to questions and things like that.
Very awesome. Well, also, I have one last question for you. Now, can anyone? Do you guys work with any companies, or is there like specific companies you want to work with, or just anyone who wants to manage their data differently?
Anyone that wants to
Like any
manage their
kind of
data.
restriction?
There's no
Okay.
oh no, no restrictions. Like as long as you have IoT devices that are trying to be secured. I know right now we're talking about potentially, working with people that do real estate contracts and things like that, because I know finance companies are also obviously still using blockchain. But our main niche is really IoT devices, securing it, packaging the data, making sure that the data transfer goes smoothly for the companies.
That is awesome. I might have to embark on your services in my future as well for my company as it grows. I know a lot of people take their IoT devices for granted. They buy these devices, they don't know they're supposed to change the basic passwords on them, or that they have connectivity to the internet, and that leaves everything vulnerable so easily to people to get into. Like if I'm gonna hack a network, I'll go through someone's printer, not their phone necessarily, because the printer's not was hardened down.
Yes, exactly. And it does happen. And that's, it's a scary thing actually when you think about it. As more devices come online, and they do project that more devices are going to come online, and there's more than a billion devices already connected.
And I want to help people know that these IoT devices that they're not alone in the fight. But they
Exactly.
need to have certain things in place in order to help mitigate those devices as well, because those are huge security risks, like we said today, and people just are unaware of it. Do you have anything else you'd like to let our audience know or anything before we go today? Any
Just
last words of
make
good?
sure. Oh yeah, make sure you check your devices. Make sure that you're changing your passwords. Make sure you're updating your passwords. And if you have any cybersecurity experts that you're working with within your company, please listen to them. That's really one of the top things. And training your employees on cybersecurity efforts and things like that, because the first line of defense is us. So it starts with us.
That is true. We're the first line of defense, and we're always was the word the weakest ones, the weakest link in the bunch. Is that how it goes?
The weakest link is as
Yes.
strong as the group. Yes.
I want to thank you very much for this, Mika. I actually enjoyed and learned a lot today as well. I hope our audience learned a lot today. I hope to have you back on here again sometime. I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me on as well. It's been great talking to you. You asked some really insightful questions as well.
Thank you very much. And if anyone wants to reach out to Mika, I will leave all the information in the description below. Thank you all for joining us today. Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to edit this out. It's not stopping. Oh, I guess I'll just keep recording. I'll just cut this out anyway.
Okay, sounds
It
good.
froze on me. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I could just leave this in there, whatever.
It's like the bloopers in the end.
Right? What the heck? This is so weird. This has never happened before. Hold on, I'm gonna try something real quick. Okay, by end the session, it'll make us leave. Thank you for watching till the end. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment below so we can continue the conversation.